Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you're having a great day. I had some free time today. I was actually off today, and this is totally off subject, but I cooked some oxtails last night, y'all. Oh my God, it was so good. I ate 12 of them last night, 2 of them this morning, and 2 of them for lunch. I didn't even cook anything, like any sides to go with it. I love oxtails, by the way. But yeah, I caught some meaty ones at a decent price, so I picked those up and hooked it on right on up last night. Anyway, I got a new subscriber yesterday. Thank you so much. And he sent me an email asking me if I would speak on this topic. Yay! Thank you so much. Um, in short, it says I'm a 47-year-old black man, and I've noticed there are a lot of women in their 40s who are delusional and are perfectly satisfied with having a sexual partner and remaining single if they can't get a high value man. I totally believe you and concur. I was wondering if you could do a video on 40 plus women. Who should they get into a committed relationship with? Um, it says to help black women in their 40s make a decision on getting into a committed relationship and who they should be in committed relationships with. Yes, so this is kind of a sensitive subject for me, obviously, because I'm in my 40s and I am single. Um, in a way, well, in a way, I'm single by choice, and in a way, I'm not. Um, I'm gonna address the first thing first. He said that he's found that a lot of women in their 40s are delusional, and he's absolutely correct. And unfortunately, it's not just women in their 40s; it's women in their 50s, 60s, 30s, 20s, etc. Somehow things have just gotten off track, and it's absolutely crazy. It's insane. I have my own theories about that, and I can go into detail about that. But in the meantime, we need to work on a fix, like for right now. And this is part of the reason why I can appreciate Kevin Samuels' page and other YouTubers that have like Kevin Samuels. There's another one. I've only seen a couple of his. He's a pastor. He's got partially balding hair. He kind of says a lot of things, the same things that Kevin Samuel says, except he puts the biblical spin on it, adding scripture and stuff like that. We've we as in the black community have gotten off track with like basic morals and values, and in part, this is my personal opinion. It was systematically done to us. Um, but then you also have to think about personal accountability. You have to take that into consideration. Um, I feel like I am unique with regards to dating in my 40s because I don't have children. Um, but most women in their 40s do have children. A lot of them have children by multiple men. And it is mind blowing to me how women and even men feel like their children are not factors. It is mind blowing. I don't think I've only dated 2 men in my past that didn't have kids. The other guys that I dated that had kids, they kind of had the attitude of, it's not your child, not your concern. My issue with that is, it's your concern. And if I'm with you, I'm loving you, we're trying to build and grow and establish, your child is an extension of you. When your child hurts, you hurt. And guess where that transfers to, or it can transfer to. Um, I can elaborate, but I hope that makes sense. Like, I hope you get the gist of what I'm saying. It absolutely affects your partner when you have children, a kid or children. The relationship that you have with the other parent is absolutely a major contributing factor. For me personally, if I don't have a problem dating a man that has kids, I would say it's hard to find a man that doesn't have kids, and in a way, it kind of is. But there are a lot of men my age that don't have kids. But I feel like men my age that don't have kids are socially awkward. Um, yeah, so if they do have kids, they absolutely have to be taking care of those kids. It's important to me that they have a cooperative relationship with the mother of their kids. And I need to see that they spend quality time with their kids. And if they are not doing that for their kids, in my opinion, you don't have room for a girlfriend or wife, period. Despite the fact that you may not be with the child's mother, it's about the child to me. That's how you stop the foolishness that's going on right now. Women need to realize that we just cannot do what men do. We absolutely cannot. A man would never have to establish paternity for a child. I'm going to say that one more time. A man would never have to establish paternity for a child. And there are other reasons why women can't do what men do, but I'm going to leave that right there. I've seen, oh my God, so many situations, even with my personal family, where moms have passed away and children have always questioned their fathers, find out on the mother's deathbed or after they died, the man they've always talked to was their dad was not their dad. That's not okay. It's not okay. And women might say, well, I did what I thought was right at the time because the person I was pregnant by wouldn't be able to provide like the person that I chose. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not cool. But at the end of the day, you choose who you're going to lay down with. And that goes for both men and women. Okay? I have seen delusional women in their 40s. I'm going to tell you something. I blame women, but I also blame the men as well. Because people need to interview the people that they're going to date. Do you share common interests? You know what I'm saying? What are y'all's goals? Where are you at right now? And what are your goals? What are you looking for? What do you want specifically? And I say that with a little bit of reluctance because I hate when people ask me, like guys ask me, so what are you looking for in a man? To me, the answer is quite simple. I'm looking for a man. A man is a protector, a provider, a confidant, a friend, period. And as a woman, I'm there to kind of, I can't protect, and I do not desire to provide in the same way that a man would, but I want to be the confidant. I want to be the best friend. I want to be the backbone. And a lot of women have problems with that. They have problems with backbone, and they hate the word submissive, and I don't get it. Because if you want a man, that's what you want. A man, a leader. You don't want somebody that you control as a man. To me, that's like, that doesn't make sense. So, in short, I feel like people need to vet their partners before they get in a bed with them. Because once you start a sexual relationship with someone, it alters how you deal with that person. It could be positive or negative, but you lose a little bit of perspective on what it really is, especially the more you do it. Okay? For you guys, let's say you meet a woman in her 40s, she got a bunch of kids, you need to be asking, where's the father or fathers? What is their involvement? If they're not involved, why? You need to see what their home looks like. You need to see what their children act like. Okay? If you're unable to see that, you need to move on. Period. Okay? I understand that people have needs, physical needs, desires, but when you get older, you can't act like you did when you were in your, I'm going to say teens, but teens and 20s, when you're trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing. You're supposed to learn and grow from your life experiences. I can't tell you how many women I know, and these are my women I know personally, that live alone, that have multiple children, their homes are nasty, they continue to get pregnant. And in my mind, I'm saying, asking myself, who did that with you? Why? How did this happen? And people can dress themselves up very well and present a representative, but you've got to dig deeper. And if they're not where they need to be, Um, and you don't see no hope for, I don't want to say change, of them evolving into something more positive and more productive, you need to move on. A lot of people are afraid to be alone. And I get it. I have cried many a nights, so lonely and wishing I had a partner. I used to absolutely hate the holidays. And I'm telling you, it wasn't until this last year, 2020, was the first year I did not cry at all for not one holiday, for feeling like it's another holiday by myself. And I'm not standing for pity. I'm just trying to express, like, if I felt that, and I consider myself to be kind of put together. I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm a work in progress. But for me to feel like that, when I feel like I somewhat have a perspective on how things should be. You know, I was raised in a two-parent household. My parents married before they carried. You know what I mean? They're still together. My parents were perfectly imperfect. You know what I mean? But I watched the relationship evolve to where somewhere initially she was in a very submissive role. And as time changed and things evolved, that changed, they evolved together. You know what I mean? When she got into the workforce, you know, their roles and what their contributions shifted a little bit. But that's something they experienced together. So I also think that going forward, there needs to be a clear expectation of like what you want. What do you want specifically? And the minute that you have a red flag, you need to dig into that. You need to dig into that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it starts with you. Are you in a healthy place? Do you know exactly what you want? Are you comfortable with passing until you get the next? Does that make sense? Because these women that are comfortable with having sexual partners without a relationship because they're looking for Mr. High Value, they're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. And you'll want to pass on that. Like, for real. Because they're not all here. And when I say that, I'm not talking about crazy. I'm talking about ignorance to a certain extent. I have been there. Like, life is not a fairy tale. You know, it's full of ups and downs, highs and lows. And there's certain things with the relationship that I feel like should come natural. The attraction, the conversation. And then some things you kind of got to ask. There has to be a little bit of compromise. And it works better if you share mutual interests, and things like that. But if you can't communicate, you see all these red flags, you're just settling for the moment, it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get messy. Let me see. Let me see. I think I've kind of touched on what 40 plus Black women should be in a committed relationship, who they should be in a committed relationship. I think a woman should play a woman's, you know, be in a woman's place. Let your man be the leader, okay? And you support that. I found that, and even if you look, most women that fully support their men and let their men go out there and lead, women are automatically elevated because they reap the rewards from the support that they give to their men. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you're less than. It means that you're giving them the opportunity to lead. Now, if you're with a man that is not a leader, who does not possess those qualities, that's another story. A man needs to be a man, period. If he's whining, if he's always coming to you, asking you for how do I fix this? If he's asking you for money, if he's willing to ask you for your body, your complete body, and he's not willing to do anything for you, he's not a man. He's not. And that's another thing that kills me is women be like, oh, let's say they get pregnant, have a baby by a man, and the man don't provide like he should. Most of the time, when men don't provide like they should, it's because there's a doubt about the paternity, or they actually cannot. Okay? And if you didn't require this man to even purchase you a meal, why would you think having a child by him would change the dynamics of that? You didn't require anything of him before then, and having a child is not going to change that. And it's mind blowing to me how women think that. I know a lot of women think like that. I thought having a baby would change him, and um, they thought marrying him would change him. Ma'am, it won't. It will not. It won't. It already has to be in him. And when you know, you know. One thing I know for sure, when a man really wants you and is willing to be that man for you, he will show up and show out. You gotta ask no questions. You don't have to be worried about his phone ringing or vibrating, or if he steps outside to take a call. You're not worried about any of that because you are taken care of. And I'm not just talking about physically. I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, and even maybe to a certain level spiritually. Yeah, but it's hard right now. It's hard. I feel like for me, my biggest challenge is like I'm in the Virginia area, so I meet a lot of quote unquote high value men that make six figures or more. And what I found, most of them in this particular area work at the shipyard. They're paid weekly. They got kids everywhere. They don't know how to manage their money. So, is it really considered high value when you're making over six figures, but your check is spread 4 and 5 different ways from 4 and 5 different children? And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, dude, I'm good. I'm good. I can appreciate you taking me out to eat. I can go out to eat. I go out, and matter of fact, I do go out to eat all the time by myself. For real. And I know that I am my best company. Okay. And that's not to say I don't desire a man or want a man, but that right there, no, sir. And you can't undo what was done, but you can make it as as good as you possibly can. You know what I mean? By having healthy relationships with your children, kids, mom, and setting clear expectations and with the person that you want to pursue a serious relationship with. You just can't undo it, but you can't ignore it or act like it doesn't happen. Um, Also, I mean, sadly, that the other thing I run into in this particular area is married men. They make that are have sustained that high value. They're married, and the sad thing is they willing to offer more than a lot of single men are, and that is so backwards. It's so backwards. But I don't be very clear. I don't engage in that. It's just what I've seen and what has been proposed. Like, it's unbelievable. I could do a blog just off of dating here in Virginia um, for the past 7 years. And most of them didn't even get to date. It was just conversations and exchanges via social media. So that's another thing. I think if at all possible, I would avoid hookup via social media unless there was a mutual, someone else that knows that person. Um, and you can do a little research and get some background because people paint pictures on social media that a lot of times are not accurate. They're downright false advertising. And if you do go to social media route, just try to do as much digging as possible before wasting their time. Men and women, you really have to listen. Listen more than you speak. And when you speak, make sure it's like an intentional conversation. Because people show you who they are, and then just pay attention to their signs. Do they follow through the way they say they're going to? Um, are there any red flags? Is something not adding up with what they say? Because people that have narcissistic tendencies and or that are liars and are showing up with the representative opposed to being themselves, almost 99% of the time, always telling themselves. You just have to pay attention to the signs. Anyway, I hope that helps. I hope I answered all of your questions. I've been watching this show called Snowfall. It's in the 4th season, but I just heard of it a couple weeks ago, and I kind of like it. I mean, it's kind of like a typical it's a typical story we've seen in Black cinema, but I like it. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. If there's anything else you want me to elaborate on, please send me an email and I will gladly respond. I hope to maybe like eventually get into doing calls because I love talking to people, getting to know people, hearing what other people have to say, sharing their opinions, as opposed to me just talking to a camera. But anyway, have a great day. And thanks again so much for the new subscriber and asking me to talk about that subject. Bye.